And I've been making a lot of videos every day about ways to keep yourself and your family and all your loved ones safe, on education in regards to diagnosis and of course treatment and prevention. But there's been one video in particular with a lot of things that were very concerning to me that's caught a lot of press. I've been questioned a lot, back and forth, both pro and against. And I really want to clear something up, but I'm going to tell you, a lot of people didn't want me to talk about this. And in fact, I've even had more questions that have come up. And I'm going to talk about those questions today. But before I do, I want to remind everybody about some of the things that concerned me, okay? And before I get into this, because this is what we talked about before, people have just very quickly jumped on this and said, how could you be talking about a culture or a race? You have to understand, we're not talking about a people. We're not talking about necessarily a country, race, or culture. We are talking about a government that is making decisions that do scare me, or at least should concern a lot of people, okay? This isn't about race, it isn't about a people, it's about a government, okay? Another thing that I found interesting is people who just jump on this conspiracy bandwagon, both for or against. They want to say, this is definitely the truth. Well, okay, you can have your opinions. I'm just asking questions. I don't know what is the truth, but there are a lot of things adding up that you're going to see that are even further not adding up. Someone says, well, you're not a virologist. I agree, I'm not a virologist. In fact, I've stated this. And you're not someone that knows anything about gene editing and splicing. That's very reasonable and true. I'd love to hear from those people. I want to hear their opinion. Could we have been capable with the technology that we have to do this sort of thing? It's very reasonable. So they don't want me to really speak at all. Well, then who is supposed to speak? When I saw this, and I saw we had this very large country that's 3,400 miles wide by 3,400 north-south, 3,250 east to west. And I saw that the Wuhan fish market and this Wuhan Institute of Virology in this huge country are only 20 miles apart. I'm just supposed to ignore that and say that's coincidence? Okay, that could certainly just be coincidence, okay? But let's start talking about a lot of other things that bother me. On January the 3rd, why did the Chinese National Health Commission, why did they demand that these investigative Chinese scientists that came and said, whoa, 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 they released a report to them on the 3rd, January 3rd. This is comparing this to SARS and MERS, this looks bad. This is going to spread. This is much worse than we thought. They didn't just tell them to be quiet. They put a gag order on them, and they told them to destroy the samples. Why would you do that? Why did a healthy 33-year-old doctor, this Dr. Lee, I think he was actually an ophthalmologist, but he became the kind of the famous whistleblower in this case. Why did he get silenced, in fact punished, and then pass away? You think about this. I looked at the guy. He looked pretty healthy to me. I don't know his medical history. Maybe he had cancer or some other illness. But what bothered me is I'm sitting there going, wait a minute. We're told that this is supposed to have about a 1.3% mortality rate in healthy individuals. Maybe it's going to differ from country to country, reasonable. But if it has a 1.3%, and a healthy 33-year-old man died, was silenced, by the way, which China has now reversed its stance on. They've apologized because there's a lot of bad PR with this guy and his family. But then he passed away, so we're just supposed to believe, once again, another roll of the dice, 1 in 100. Just bad luck again, okay? We already talked about the coincidence they're 20 miles apart. Why did the Chinese government also silence thousands, maybe even tens of thousands? That's the point, we don't even know, of its citizens from discussing anything about the virus on the web. Shutting them down. But fortunately, some brilliant people were able to find back channels. Go look on YouTube. You'll see many videos of what was actually going on. Why would you silence the people? Don't you want the knowledge out? Don't you want us to learn how to prepare? Why would you do that? Why haven't we heard about sickened Chinese officials? This one really makes me wonder. Let's do some more creative thinking here. If we're told that, definitely men, and men over the age of 60 are definitely the biggest at risk. In fact, I believe that over 80, the statistics were that 15% potentially mortality rate. If that's the case, isn't the Chinese government, someone could correct me again, but aren't they made mostly of older men? So let's drop that 15, because I don't know all their age range, but let's just say it's 5 to 10%. Why have we not heard about 5 to 10% of the Chinese government passing away? I mean, if anyone, they were the least knowledgeable about this, right? Because it's supposed to be a completely random genetic mutation that hit them. It would have spread rapidly, densely populated area. It would have gone through, we didn't know anything about the treatments, and there's some very promising ones now. They wouldn't have known about those. It would have spread rapidly. Or have we just not been told? Did that actually happen and we just don't know? Or is pretty much every one of their government officials just fine? Well, how does that math add up? Why is this virus so different from the rest? Okay, we talked a little bit about this. Certainly a lot of things about the virus are similar. Viruses do affect people that have more compromised immune systems and elderly, but boy, this one really affects the elderly. I mean, really. You know, and the other thing is, I said last time, this is the way it was made. Again, I don't know if it was man-made or if the virus itself is just made to spread this way, and that's why it's so good, that it's able to populate so rapidly with its making little baby viral particles that before you show any signs and symptoms of a typical cold and flu, you're already highly contagious to others. Again, was this just random mutation? I don't know. Again, a lot of questions. And I didn't even mention you happen to be in the country of all countries in the world that is most concerned about population control. Again, wouldn't that be terrible? Well, how dare you say that? Well, shouldn't you at least, along with questions, question that? Why, and this is the most important of all, is there so much resistance from simply asking questions? I have had a lot of people call me up, some news outlets and other people, and say, you're not an expert, you should be. You know, who is it? I'm a surgeon. I do aesthetics mostly. I'm also a board certified general surgeon. And I love microbiology. That was my passion. And in college, that was my major. I've always loved it, and epidemiology, passion. But since I heard about this in January, I've been reading, taking all this in because it's fascinating to me. And looking at all this, who is an expert on the front lines of medicine and virology and in gene splicing and into the politics? I don't know anybody. So if no one is an expert in everything, any one person shouldn't be asking questions? You know, I think it's just as dangerous to quickly jump to something definitely being true as a conspiracy theory as it is to silence even asking the questions at all. Because I'm going to tell you something. At a bare minimum, if all of this is just complete random chance, just really, really bad luck and chance, when all this is said and done, and we've done everything we can to diagnose and treat this disease and get everyone healthy across the world, that Chinese government is going to have a lot of questions to answer for why they didn't at least warn us. I know a lot of countries out there that would have loved to have just a couple more weeks of warning to get ready, to get their people ready, to get the medical supplies, to start more research themselves. Absolutely shameful that the Chinese government did not warn us earlier. And that is at the bare minimum.